Living in Japan has always been a dream of mine.
But after 1 month, is that still the case?
It's no secret that in Western media, Japan is painted as fairy tale land.
And during my time in Japan, I've had all kinds of amazing experiences. From mini pig cafes, muscle girl bars, round one bowling, to Don Quixote. They have literally everything and things you can't even think of. Like cock grease. This stuff is literally just hair gel. Konnichiwa and welcome to our channel. I'm Pablo and I'm here with my brother Diego. Today we're going to be talking about us living in Japan as foreigners for an entire month now. So make sure to stick to the end of this video so you get the full story, because I'm going to be talking to you guys like I would a friend.
From culture shock to delicious food, we'll dive into the highs and lows of navigating Japan as foreigners.
My first week here was honestly a bit of a culture shock because the safety here is unmatched. We were literally watching middle schoolers board and get off the train without even any parents or any adults around, because everyone is watching you. And that is another thing too. People really watch you. So if you do anything kind of weird, look kind of weird, anything, you're gonna have a lot of eyes on you and a lot of like side eyes just constantly watching you, and people following you too. Like, for instance, we recorded a few videos while we were exploring a thrift store, and the entire time we were being watched as though we were gonna steal something or something. I don't know what the deal is with that, but it was quite a culture shock. I get for the safety of others and everything, and I quite admire that, but honestly, it was a bit uncomfortable. And there was even one time where we boarded a train and there was a freaking bicycle right in the corner, and we were just trying to get out of people's way. So we accidentally bumped into it and didn't cause any damage or anything. But since we bumped into it, there was nonstop elderly people staring at us like this. And it got so uncomfortable to the point where I had to stare back at them just to get them to stop. You're really gonna have a lot of eyes on you, and that's part of the uncomfortableness of things. And it's part of what forces this idea of conformity as well, because if you don't act 100% perfect, you're gonna have some eyes on you. And honestly, there is just so much to see here. Within like every square mile, you'll be walking to one destination to try to maybe go to a mall or something, and then on the way you'll find a very beautiful temple or a beautiful park such as this one. There's a lot of beautiful things to experience in such a small square radius. Being here for a month, I felt super free, super happy, and honestly, a little bit lonely because we don't speak the language perfectly. And one other thing that was kind of a shock is, even if you do know some Japanese, even if you really immerse yourself in the culture here, it's still going to be a degree of loneliness that you're going to experience. There's a lot of creators that have moved here and they complain about feeling lonely because they can't really relate to a lot of people on a lot of different things. And they're kind of outcast, because the reality of things is they don't really like foreigners here that much. They're going to be respectful to you and kind to you and still maintain their morals, but they're not really going to like you. And that's just kind of the harsh reality of things, because they don't really want you here. But let's be real, what country isn't like that? Like, for instance, America, they're very prejudiced against Mexicans, because even during my growing up days, there was a lot of, oh, go back to where you came from, stuff like that. So what country really doesn't experience that kind of prejudice against foreigners in their country? But enough of that, because I promise you the pros of Japan severely outweigh the cons. Honestly, the culture here is next level. In a lot of aspects, I wish America had a lot of things that Japan has. Like, the food here is insanely tasty. You can't really find a hole-in-the-wall place that serves bad food, and if you do, it's very rare. The kindness from people generally is extremely high. People, if they see you struggling, they're gonna try to help you as best they can, even if they can't really speak a whole lot of English. Like, for instance, I was at a grocery store and I couldn't figure out how to check out. So I was sitting there for a good while, and a nice lady came and helped me finish the checkout and explained how to do it in the future. She didn't have to go that far to teach me how to do it in the future, but that was genuinely a skill that I've been using for a long time now. So I was extremely thankful for that one moment.
The prices here are kind of insanely cheap, that is. Most restaurants you eat at are gonna run you about 1,000 yen per meal. which is only about $7. So you get a full meal for $7 on average. One thing you really got to look out for though is the tourist traps. They are everywhere. And a lot of the times when you're here, you'll be looking up things to do on Google or that sort of thing. A lot of places are going to recommend these areas that have food places or activities to do, but some of them are extremely overpriced. There was a pretty famous like ramen alley we went to, and ramen was 2,000 yen there. It is double the cost of pretty much average ramen pretty much anywhere else. You walk down the street and it's 1,000 yen. And it's just as good, if not better, than these tourist trap places. Another example is Akihabara. Now, I love Akihabara. It's really cool. Got to lots of cool stuff. But if you go to arcades or you're shopping around for manga or figures, just don't go there, because a lot of the places there are going to be a lot heavier priced than the next city over. The last time we went here just a couple weeks ago to Akihabara, the price to play a single arcade game was 200 and 300 yen for one play on a normal arcade machine. We literally then went down the street, maybe a couple blocks, to another arcade, and it was only 100 yen and had the exact same prices. So be very vigilant and not getting scammed for no reason. I know a lot of people who like to show up at their destinations and then just look at things to do around me, activities near me, that type of thing. But that is not gonna fly here in Japan, because a lot of the things that are going to show up on Google and other search engines, such like that, are gonna be very basic things that you might not wanna spend more than like maybe max an hour to do there. And it's just, you're gonna miss out on a lot of really cool activities if you're only relying on Google. So make sure to research around.
And whatever you guys do, make sure to not go to a money exchange place, because an ATM is gonna give you a much better exchange rate. Like literally, we were withdrawing 100,000 yen. The difference of us using an ATM versus an exchange place was nearly $100. So make sure to not waste your time. But another key factor is, although I did call my bank and let them know that I was going to be in Japan, my card kept getting declined so many places because it would just say temporarily out of service or temporarily unavailable, blah, 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 whatever. But the way around that was I actually had my brother who his bank would work, but mine just wouldn't a lot of places. And this is my second trip to Japan where this has happened. Although I've called my bank, I've set all the parameters necessary. I did my due diligence and it still never worked. So make sure whatever you do that you have multiple cards that you can withdraw from, maybe even different banks, or at least travel on a group or have a contingency plan of some kind, because your card may not work out here and it's really hard to not be caught with funds, because a lot of places are cash only. They won't even accept cards. And one thing you guys really got to watch out for, I'm going to warn you right now, is the mosquitoes. Not because you're going to get bit a lot, like I got bit quite a bit just being here at this random park, but because of cephalitis. Japan mosquitoes carry cephalitis, and a lot of other countries don't actually have the vaccine for it. So chances are you aren't vaccinated for it and you could catch that. So make sure to always carry some bug spray of some kind, or maybe even mosquito lotion, and be super wary, because the mosquitoes are pretty bad. They're decently sized and they leave massive welts. Like the welts I'm getting right now is pretty atrocious. But overall, honestly, Japan kind of is a lot like fairy tale land. There's a lot of great things to look forward here to. There is a lot of things to do. Prices are cheap. Housing is relatively affordable. People are extremely polite and honestly kind of loving in their own way. And super, super respectful. Like, holy cow, are they respectful, dude. And the food, if you don't walk that food off, you're gonna gain some weight, dude, because it is so dang good. It is unbelievably good. I've been trying out foods here that I've never even remotely thought to try before. Even seafood, and I hate seafood, and it's like good here. It doesn't make any sense. Overall, I love Japan. Being in Japan for this past month has been one of the greatest experiences of my life, and I've been very, very honored to be able to shoot these videos and share them with you guys. We have some friends here in Japan that are looking at getting us, citizenship and all kinds of stuff. And although it is kind of a long and rigorous process and kind of really difficult, it is gonna feel super worth it, because there is some aspects like of loneliness and everything, but overall, it is way better than where we come from. So I fully suggest, if you guys are thinking about checking out Japan, either visiting or moving, it's absolutely worth it. But until next week, we'll see you guys around. Bye.